show you how to use one of my favorite products. As you know, and if you haven't seen it yet, but I posted a video on one of my favorite acrylic furniture paints called Blackberry house paint. Well, today I'm going to be using another product, and it's a texture paste. So if you purchased this already, or if you are thinking about purchasing it, I'm going to show you a couple of ways on how to use this product actually on your furniture, and even with doing raised stenciling with it with different colors. So what are we waiting for? Let's begin. I'm going to be demonstrating this on a piece of wood. It just makes it a little easier because we're going to pretend this is a piece of furniture, and we're also going to be like, fixing it. So what I'm going to be using here today is Blackberry house paint color Hot Cocoa. One of my favorite colors, and also a good color that my customers liked. And we're just going to mix the paint up a little bit. Now I'm just using a lid here because I'm going to do a little of the texture and then mix the paint. So you use whatever makes it easier, paper plate, whatever the case is. So the product that I'm going to show you today is called Build It Up. So it is a texture paste, and this can be used for fixing furniture. So if you've got some couple of scratches on your piece before you start painting, you can use it for that. And then also you can use it for stencils, like textured, raised stencils, which I'm going to be showing you that today too. But this product I love. Been using it for a few years now, and I just love it. So there's a couple of ways that we're going to do this. So I'm going to show you a little bit on this board. On this board, I got a couple of scratches, and normally what I do is I just use this. Now, if it's not that deep, instead of using wood filler, I'll use this, and you will want to mix it up with like a popsicle stick or something like that. So I'm going to show you two ways. You can do it with the white. And then if you know the color that you're going to be using on your piece, then we're going to tint it with the paint. Okay, so I'm going to show you both ways before we actually start painting this. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some of the texture, just like this, onto my piece here, like this. And then I take my little scraper here, and then I just kind of make sure that I smooth it out. Now, if you do a really good smooth, you don't have to sand it, but I always do, just in case. So I'm gonna do that. Now, on this scratch right here, I am going to tint it. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of the paint. Well, that might be a little too much there, but it's all right. Or not the paint, the texture. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the paint, and then I'm just going to mix it up. So now, if we know that we're painting it, with the hot cocoa, then we can just mix that up, and it just makes it, blend obviously when you're painting, but even the white does too, so it doesn't matter. But I wanted to show you both ways, and whatever you want to do, where your preference is. So then I take some of that, and then I'm just going to put that on there. And then cover that. You see how, I'll show you close up in a second. So we got the version of the white that's already in there. And then I tinted it with the hot cocoa color. So now I'm gonna let this dry. And then once it's dry, we can actually then start, painting the whole piece. And the whole piece that we're painting it is gonna be the hot cocoa. And then we're gonna do a raised stencil. So I'm gonna let this sit for 1 hour to let it dry. And once it's fully dry, then we can start with our next step. Now that it is completely dry, I am going to sand any part that I feel a little rough. Like this is pretty smooth. I'm just probably going to sand this right here and some right over here wherever I feel that there's a little lift, but everything else is really nice and smooth. But it did a great job in covering it. So I'm gonna use my detail sander for this because it's so small, and I'm gonna set it in a lower speed, and then we'll clean this up. All right, that was pretty quick. So now we're just gonna wipe it off. All right, and now we are ready to paint it with our hot cocoa here. So I'm just gonna go, and I'll be using my brush in here because it's such a small piece. I don't need a tray or anything. Okay, so we are ready for our first coat. I might just coat this a little extra this time because maybe I don't need to do 2 coats on this, but we are pretending it is furniture, right? So, and I also wanted to show you how smooth this Blackberry house paint goes on. So it's really, the texture is phenomenal. It is, I can't even explain it. It's like silk, but let me show you that if you guys can see that a little bit. If you haven't tried this paint, you gotta try it. And if you like today's products that I'm using, especially with the texture, raised texture paste there that I'm using, and then also the paint, you can go to their website at blackberryhousepaint.com, and then for a special discount, use Riva Chic 15. You'll get a nice discount. But been using their paint. There is a video out there if you haven't seen it with all their colors that I posted. Live colors. I mean, obviously you can go to their website, but you can see all the colors on my video as well. All right, so we're gonna let this dry a bit and come back and see how it looks. I just wanna make sure that the wood's covered because with my demonstration I wanna show you, I'm just doing the stencils and different colored stencils on here. So hopefully this should be enough and it doesn't go through where I need a second coat because I think I laid a good amount of paint on here. We are ready. I'm gonna go ahead and put some gloves on. So I just chose 2 colors that are kind of bright because we're not making this really, you know, perfect. I am just showing you a demonstration on it. So if it doesn't blend together, it's okay. Because at least you can see the colors. This is all nice and dry. So we can go ahead and start working on our stencils. On the stencils, I have so many. I didn't know which ones to choose, but I guess I can use 2, you know, both of these, and basically just to show you how this texture, you know, works. All right, so 2 colors that I have here by Blackberry House Paint is the Hummingbird. I love this color. And one of my other favorites right here is called Midnight Stroll. Let's see if I have the name was on top of the can, but it's called Midnight Stroll. So we're gonna take our, build it up. We already mixed it up before. So I'm gonna make 2 little areas here because, you know, for both colors. So I'm gonna take, and I'm not sure right now how much I'm gonna need because look at my stencil. This should be enough. There's a bigger one than the other one, so let's just start off with this and then we can add more to it. All right, so let's start with, we can start off with the blue, this Hummingbird one. So since there is a good amount there, I'm gonna put that there. And we're gonna mix it up. Really good. And I'm gonna add a little more color because I do want this solid color, so add more of that. All right. All right, so let's put this down. Now I'm gonna use you can use another spatula if you want, but I am going to use my scraper. And I got 2 scrapers because we're gonna be doing 2 different colors. These come in a nice pack, and I will be posting that. I'll be posting a link on the description. So you kind of like do that. Just make sure that you don't put too much, because as we call it, it can bleed through the edges, and you don't want that, especially if you have your piece painted already. Or you can, obviously do this in the white, leave it as is, and then use it as use the texture itself, and then when you're ready to paint it, you're just going to paint the whole texture. All right, so while that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start my next one. So I'm going to add my blue. We can mix that up. And it's changing a lot of color of more white because of I have that white, more white on my thing here. So I'm gonna add a little more blue. And you're gonna play around with this of how much you're gonna need. Oops, just don't use that corner right there. I'm kind of liking this kind of blue now, actually. I don't really want to go darker. It's kind of cool. All right, and then I'm going to take my scraper, and we're going to do that right here. And usually you could just kind of like lift this up right now at this point, but I don't want to do that yet because I might want to put a little more on it. So I'm going to let it dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back to it and see how it's looking. I just waited a couple minutes, took a little potty break, and came back. So now I'm going to go ahead. We're going to lift it up. So what we do is we're going to get these corners first, like that. Okay, and be very careful. Okay, and then we just do a lift. So here we have the raised stencil. So this is another form, a way of doing a raised stencil where all these are out. This looks really neat too on furniture, kind of gives you like a 3D dimension. Or we can do something like this. So I am now going to take another stencil here that I have. Now this is a big one, so we're not going to use like, everything. And I'm going to show you on how just to use the texture itself like this without changing the color, okay? And then we can obviously, we wanted to paint it, we're going to be painting it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let me move some stuff around here. Maybe I shouldn't have put this guy in the middle, huh? Maybe I couldn't put him here, but wasn't thinking. It's okay, because we're just doing a sample here. So I'm just going to place this one right here, and we're going to do this corner. Some people like to tape this. You can if you want to, but you just kind of hold it tight down so it doesn't move. Now I got myself another scraper, and I'm just going to dip it into the Build It Up again, just like that. And then go ahead, put it on there. And what's nice about when you use the paint with the Build It Up, it dries faster because you put a good amount of paint on there. Now, again, you can change the color to a darker, you're just gonna have to work it. But I kind of like that other blue there. Okay. So now that you got that on there, all you're gonna do then is lift up that way, okay? Put that on the side. Now you wash those stencils, you know, with warm water. So we're gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna be taking the hot cocoa, because say that you wanted the hot cocoa back over there and just have those raised stencils. We're not just gonna be putting paint over this one to match our original piece. So we're gonna let this dry for about an hour, and then we will come back. All right, we are now ready to paint this, but just wanted to point something out to you all. See this little mark right here? So the paint came off. So all you got to do is take yourself a little small artist brush, okay, and then just dab a little paint on it, just to cover it up, like that. I think I probably need a little more there. Sometimes with these small brushes, you don't get a lot of paint on them. And that's it. Let that dry, and then you're done with that. All right, so now we are going to start painting this right here. So I'm going to grab a small artist brush as well, because it's such a small section, but I wanted to show you how you can paint over this. I did end up putting just a little more paint on it just to cover it, but don't look at the color ones, but look at those that stencil right there, okay? So that's what that would look like underneath. So you just paint it over the color of your furniture that you're doing. And what you can do now is put some gilding wax on it if you wanted to. So I'm gonna, instead of using gold, I'm gonna use copper, just to show you a different color, because we all do gold so much. Let's change it up. I take an artist brush on something like this because it's so fine. And I dab it in the acrylic, and then I just go over it. And you can put as much as you want, little as you want. You know, I'm going to use my finger for this. I think it won't be that bad. I thought it'd be bad because it's so small. But if we just change the color up a little bit there. And just go over. You know, you could put as much as wax as you want. How little you want. But I just wanted to show you another way. Again, this is like right now, it's not that perfect because it's not on a piece. But just wanted to show you what you can do. So many ways of doing this, and so many different ways of the texture that you can, how you apply it. Okay, I think that's good. And then I'll show you something else over this. And you don't really have to wait for this wax to dry, but let me show you the close-up of how you can change that. And then what you could do is take yourself a chip brush, and let's just use this color since it's out. And let me clean it up a little bit. We don't want too much paint. You take your chip brush and just do like dry strokes on your piece. And what this kind of does, it kind of makes the edges pop of the stencil. So you can do a little more paint. Just be really careful with this because you don't want too much paint on it. I usually use, like, I dab it on a paper towel or something. And this is going to be your preference and, you know, what you're trying to obviously accomplish. But this is just another way of doing it. Because, you know, your stencil is not going to be over your whole furniture piece. Usually like the top, sides, drawers, whatever the case is. So this just kind of makes it look really cool. And you can do some parts extra like I did right there. And then go up, you know, make it lighter. However you want it at this point. But I just kind of wanted to show you what you can do here. So let me show you that. See that? So the texture, it just kind of pops in a different way. That's using the gilding wax. And as you can see, this texture here, that's that 3D look as I was telling you. This is a softer look. Okay, it's still, it's obviously raised. All of these are raised, but it's a little more flatter. And then you got this. It is raised, but it's like smoothly raised below. Well, guys, I hope you liked that video. And as I mentioned before, is every time you do a raised stencil texture, there's so many ways of doing it and so many styles that you like. You know, I can go on and on with the textures and stencils and how to decorate them with using different color waxes, gilding waxes, you know, make them antique. There are so many different ways, but I just wanted to introduce this product to you that I use, and in case you like it. Also, with the other video, as I mentioned, you might want to click on that video as well. I did post that up here, so make sure that you click that video with the different paint colors with Blackberry house paint. So if you liked today's video, I hope that you can give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also click on that notification bell so every time I do post a new video, you will be notified. Till next time, bye-bye.